Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey Miles, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Doing well, staying busy.
Yeah, you've had a lot happening lately. We were going to record this yesterday, but you had some serious trouble at the store and at the house at the same time.
There's always something interesting going on. Yeah, we had a gas leak at one of the stores yesterday, and come to find someone. It was very stereotypical of a surplus store. It was our newest store that we just acquired 6 months ago, and the gas, I guess the heater had kind of been jerry-rigged, just like you would expect them to do with anything in a surplus store. Just was kind of shocked to find that they had done it with something that could be as dangerous as a furnace.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, you got to make things do, I guess.
Made me laugh. Got it fixed, but
Yeah. So, yeah, you just basically purchased a local store. How did that happen?
so I mean, was our second local store that we purchased. Um, so I guess it goes back to the first one that we did. It was U.S. Surplus in Colorado Springs. We were trying to figure out. I was looking at buying another business, something outside of surplus, and my broker came back and was like, "I know this isn't like you were looking for something else, but it matches what you're already doing perfectly, and it's right across the street from your warehouse." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." So about it was exactly 2 years ago, October 1st, we took over our first store called U.S. Surplus in Colorado Springs, and that was going over really well. We had been in talks for, I mean, 3 years previous to buy Glenn's Army Surplus in Colorado Springs, and it just the owners weren't ready to sell yet, and so when we bought that first store, I just let them know, hey, like this is still on the table. Would love to do this, and they basically said, like, if you don't buy it, we're gonna close it. It's like, well, Glenn's Army Surplus was the oldest military surplus store in Colorado Springs and maybe Colorado. It turned 45 years old this year.
Oh, wow.
Um, so we ended up closing on that back in March.
So, you started with online business, right? Doing venture surplus. Is that where it all began?
Yeah, so we started Venture Surplus. It was actually called Springs Tactical Gear when I first started, and that was almost exactly 10 years ago. So I started at September 1st, 2014.
What made you jump into the world of military surplus? I mean, it's an interesting and somewhat complicated business. I mean, it's straightforward in some ways, but it's something different every day.
Yeah, so at the beginning of 2014, I started working with this guy that was just selling stuff on eBay. And I had a whole lot of experience selling stuff on eBay. I think at the time when I started doing this, I already had like 2,000 feedback on eBay or something like that. So I had done, I don't know, 20,000 transactions on there. And this guy was doing all kinds of interesting stuff on there. I mean, football jerseys, Starbucks cups, random collectibles. And I saw the military surplus stuff and I was like, this is the coolest stuff I have ever seen. And I was like, can I please focus just on the military surplus and you can have everybody else do the other stuff? Like, this is all I want to do. And he didn't want me to do that. And I was like, well, do you mind if I go do it on the side? I really like this stuff. This is awesome. And like, I'll build it all out and I'll come back and I'll show you how I did it so that we can do it here. And he said, yes. So I went off and I started it. And I came back to him and I was like, this is going really well. Here's what I've learned. I found these different wholesalers. I found these different sources for surplus. This is what we do. And he was like, I don't want to do that. I really like doing this variety of stuff. It's more fun. And I was like, well, I'm going to go off and do this on my own then. And
Yeah.
so I started it out of my basement. When I had initially done it, I was not making very much money. I took $200 that I was supposed to spend on rent and I just purchased some Pasget helmets on Craigslist. And I sold all of those for $600 and just used all of that money to, well, first of all, pay rent. And then the rest of it I used to buy some more surplus. And so moved into my basement. It was about 500 square feet and just slowly filled that up over the next like 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
So just kind of bootstrapped it from $200 cash into where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot easier to pay rent now.
Yeah. Good. Good. That's awesome. And yeah, 10 years later, you've purchased two surplus stores. Both are they both in Colorado Springs then?
Yeah, they're both in Colorado Springs.
I love Colorado Springs. I was just there, and I meant to come by and see you, but I was just a little too busy. So next time we'll have
Next
to make
time,
it
yeah,
happen.
I'll show you the stores, show you the warehouse. The warehouse is actually really boring. We just moved the warehouse uh, literally next door to where it was because we were able to move from this really odd space into a nice rectangular space with a loading dock. And the space is, I mean, it's just filled with shelves.
So, yeah, perfect. Yeah, you have to have a loading dock. It makes everything so much easier.
Oh yeah.
When we purchased the building that we're in now, it was like basically because it was the only one available that had a loading dock. I had two. I was like, okay, that's perfect. Uh, at least at the time, it was in 2020 when we bought this place, and there was just no commercial space available at all, and whatever there was definitely didn't have loading docks. Um, Luckily, this place was kind of everything we wanted. Didn't have an office or anything like that, so we sort of built that into the space. It was just a warehouse that was actually an old steel factory at some point. And then it changed hands a few times over the last couple of decades. It was actually a military surplus store, I think about 20 years ago. So some of the neighbors and stuff remember, they're like, "Oh, are you Mad Dog Surplus?" I'm like, "No, but doing similar stuff."
That's cool.
Yeah.
After that first fire that you guys went through, did you stay in the same city?
So we're in Chico, California now, which is basically just downhill from Paradise. Paradise was kind of up in the hills of the Sierra Nevadas. It's like a little
Okay.
mountain town, and Chico is like the next biggest town right when you come down off the mountain. So it's kind of a natural place to land. And unfortunately, a lot of people, everybody except for one person actually in the business lost their homes too. So a lot of
Oh
people
wow.
split and kind of moved into different areas, but a lot of the folks, wanted to stick around and keep working. And, this business was started by my dad in 97 or 1996, actually. So basically when I was a little kid. Did I lose you there for a sec? I think I just got a phone
No,
call.
no, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Spam call. Where was I? Started the business in 1996 when I was a little kid. So I kind of watched him doing this business growing up. And, truth be told, it was never like something that I really wanted to get into. I like graphic design. I've got different passions and interests and things. But I always sort of helped him out with some of the marketing stuff, just working part time. Like on Fridays, I would come in and take product photos, that sort of thing. But after the fire, it was like, the warehouse burned up, the office burned up, half the employees moved away. He's thinking, do I even want to get back into this business or not? Do I want to jump in and kind of start from scratch? And it would have been easier to just pull the plug if we didn't have a couple containers of stuff on the way that we needed to receive anyways. And so it was like, okay, do I rent a warehouse space and receive those containers, call all my vendors and customers, let them know we're still in business and kind of start from scratch again, or just give up on it? And, we had a sort of a heart to heart, and I decided to just jump into it with him, uh, full steam ahead. So that was in 2018. So I've been involved, 100% since then. And, he's sort of slowly inching towards retirement, but he's got too much fun.
Yeah, he actually he stopped by our store. Was it maybe a year ago? He just happened to be in the Springs, and it was really funny. He called me on my cell phone, and he was like, "Hey, is this Venture Surplus?" And I was like, how did a customer get my phone number, like my personal phone number?" And I was like, yeah, but you're gonna want to call the customer service line. He was like,
Right.
"Oh no, I'm here with SwissLink. I wanted to stop by the stores." And I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, come on in." And
Yeah,
he
sweet.
he came in, and very interesting to chat with. He was telling us that he coined the term Alpenflage. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and
he
that
did.
that is real interesting too, because it's just become such an iconic camo and iconic names.
Right. People know it as Alpenplage now. They don't really say like Taz 83 or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, some people do, but
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
if you want to be nerdy and get all technical, yeah,
right. Yeah. That's his surplus claim to fame, I guess. Yeah. Um, he started this business. We're called Swiss Link because originally it was all just Swiss military surplus. He's from Germany originally, and he's got friends in Switzerland. And when the Swiss Army downsized. They had a big decommissioning of their military. They downsized pretty substantially in the late 80s, early 90s. And because of that, of course, there was a lot of surplus being offloaded. And he had a sort of a connection there and decided to sort of try to market that stuff in the States. At the time, there weren't really very many people doing European military surplus in the States. When you think of Army Navy stores, it's all US stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's sort of pawned or, buy sell trade from people who are just selling their personal gear, that sort of thing. So, people didn't know what any of these camels were or looked like. I mean, it was just kind of an unknown thing at the time. And he started bringing it into different catalog stores. He'd sell to Sportsman's Guide. He would sell to Cheaper Than Dirt, a couple other big sort of catalog companies at the time that were doing sporting goods, and sort of convinced them to get into the surplus business. And, over the years it's grown, and now there's quite a few people doing the same thing, importing the European surplus. And I love it because the stuff is also unique and interesting and different, and, all the different camouflages and stuff. I was never much of a history or military buff growing up. I don't have that personal affliction, so to speak, but coming at it from the other angle, it's definitely grown on me. I've got my favorite camos. I got my favorite gear. You just kind of, it grows on you. If you're around it all the time, you're gonna fall in love with stuff one thing at a time.
Yeah, I am really big into history, obsessed with American history, and I think that's kind of shows on our website and in our stores. We primarily focus on American military surplus, and we'll occasionally get like some other random pieces. Like I was over at Glenn's earlier and I stumbled across it was the Red Dawn camouflage pants, and I was like, oh, that is a real interesting find. A little bit of German snow camo in there, and it's just things that people bring in from their collections. But my absolute favorite is just pretty much everything that was made from the 1940s into 1970s. That's like top. That's almost everything that I have in my personal collection. I'm just waiting on that World War II paratrooper smock. I can't seem to find an original one in good condition. That's not $20,000.
Yeah, some of that American stuff is real pricey, especially from the earlier eras, because there's a lot of collectors out there. And the stuff, in that era too, was very, I don't know, more fashionable, so to speak. It was like more in line with like what civilians would wear.
Yeah, I think a lot of modern apparel is influenced very heavily by that 40s, 50s, 60s style military gear.
Yeah. A lot of stuff has its roots in Army stuff, I mean, the obvious stuff like bomber jackets and trench coats and aviator glasses, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Military surplus is not just for the Army nerds out there. There's a lot of good, cool, fashionable stuff. We keep getting in this Italian, there's mess kit tableware. It's like really fine porcelain, beautiful crystal glasses, stuff like that. And it's like, that's not what people think of when they think of military surplus. They think of helmets and jackets, but there's so much more to it.
Oh yeah, there's some real interesting pieces out there.
Yeah, it's super fun for sure. So gosh, you've been doing this for 10 years. You bought 2 more stores. You're doing the brick and mortar thing at 2 locations. You're doing your website still, obviously. That's a lot to do. I mean, do you have a good team working with you, or, I mean, how much of this stuff are you doing on your own?
We have a really good team. Got 14 people between the stores and the warehouse. And right now we're having a really hard time hiring for the stores because we're looking for, surplus nerds. I really want people that like this stuff and know this stuff and can get into some weird technical details and look at a shirt and be like, yeah, that looks like it was probably a 68 production Vietnam jungle uniform pattern 3, and be able to like just pinpoint it down using little details. And I want them to be able to talk to customers like that and just like come in the store and be nerdy and really enjoy the stuff that they're selling, because it's fun and it's way better than regular retail. We don't have a lot of terrible customers coming in that are super rude. It's just a lot of people that are also obsessed with this kind of gear and just looking for that gem in the store or looking to replace something that they had.
Well, Colorado Springs is by no means a small town, so I'm sure there's some folks out there. If you're somebody listening who loves military surplus and lives in that area, give Jeffrey a call.
Yeah,
Sounds like
please come stop by one of the stores. Get me your resume. We want someone that loves this stuff, and also the employee discount is 40% off surplus. So,
yeah, yeah. That's what's funny is everybody who works here ends up like over the course of the year spending quite a bit of money on the stuff. Particularly our blankets. Come Christmas time, everyone's buying like 3 or 4 blankets because they're perfect, easy gifts. That everybody loves, and over time they start coming in wearing a little bit more surplus. It's like they get converted over time.
oh yeah, some of the employees at the store, like the early ones, they would take piles of surplus and set it in the back. And it was before we had an official employee discount. And what we would do is we just sell it to like whatever they wanted. We just sell it to them for whatever we paid for it, which was awesome. But as the team grew, it was a little bit harder to continue to do that. But
You
they
have
they
all
would
your inventory
spend
otherwise,
half a paycheck in there.
right? Yeah, it's so fun. I'm sure you'll find some people that dig the stuff as much as you do. They're out there.
We've definitely got some good ones in there. I think you've talked to Dan. He used to run our Instagram. He was our store lead at US Surplus. He did our US Milsurp account for a long time, and he kind of blew it up. We went from like 0 to 20,000 followers in like a year or something. And it was just him in there being goofy and showing off his favorite pieces of surplus. And
Yeah, yeah. It comes. I mean, when you love the stuff, it's easy to tell. I've been trying real hard to get into the social media stuff. It doesn't come naturally to me, I must admit, but it's super fun, and I love watching what everybody else is doing too. And it seems like there's a really big growing sort of cohort of younger people that are getting into military surplus too, and you know, particularly, I mean, obviously the U.S. stuff too, but the European stuff is getting more popular too over time, and I just love watching that happen. Like Nugget, or I guess their Commando store guys, are doing a lot of great stuff online. Americana Pipe Dreams killing it online, and just like getting in the comments and seeing how many people are out there that just love this stuff, and realizing that they're all 19, 20 years old is pretty exciting. It's not just old farts that love this stuff anymore.
yeah, that has been one of the best things ever. So this last ANME show, that was my favorite show that I've ever been to, because this was the first one where I showed up and there were a bunch of other surplus store owners that were my age. And
Yeah,
we ended
it's
up,
like, what? Where did you
uh,
come from?
yeah, it was so cool. We ended up hanging out, and we went to the Meow Wolf Omega Mart. Um, went out and got drinks. It was super fun. It was just really cool to see like some new guys actually coming in, because the first several times that I had gone, I didn't meet anyone my age. And this last time, you were there. We met up with Americana Pipe Dream, Misty Mountain Surplus, the guys over at Major Surplus. They're awesome. Who else was there? Oh, Luke from One Thief Surplus. He is awesome.
Yeah, Luke's great. I love that guy. He's got a good passion for this stuff too. I love following him on social media too. He does a
He
really good
is he's doing a really good job on his social media.
Yeah. Seems like his accounts is growing pretty fast too, which is exciting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it took him a minute to get it going, and he told me like when we were at ANME, he's like, I suck at social media. And then within the next 6 months, he had like grown his following by like from like 1,800 to nearly 10,000. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess that's makes
Yeah, you
sense.
really suck
He's
at
got
it,
good
right?
content. He's clever. He's funny. He's a Marine veteran, so
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's enough of a thing right there. He's not faking anything. He knows exactly what he's talking about, which is cool. Um, Totally random thing, but I was just in Colorado Springs, and I went with my son. I was actually there to see my grandmother, who's still around, thankfully, and she lives in Colorado Springs. My grandpa was a colonel in the Army, so they were stationed there, and then that's where they ended up retiring because it's
very
just such
cool.
a nice area. But I took my son there. He's a year and a half now, and we went to forget what it's called, but there's like a Christmas theme park that's like all
Oh
Santa
yeah, the
Claus
North
themed.
Pole.
Yeah, the North. Yeah, of course, the North Pole. That was so cool. Just like 100 degrees and everything's all snowy themed.
That
Pretty
that
proud
is
of.
that's such a Colorado Springs icon.
Yeah, yeah. Those rides were dated for sure. Like, should I be sending my family up on that thing? I don't know, but
I
they
remember
still.
going there one time with my family and my little brother. I don't know why, but he stuck his hand in the gearbox behind one of the rides and like cut his finger. So it was so
Oh no.
funny. He was
Yeah.
fine. That's why it was funny.
Right. Yes. Yes. He didn't lose a finger. Hopefully. Yeah. There's so much stuff to do there, though. I'm always surprised by like just how much is packed into Colorado Springs, and
A lot of
it's
outdoor stuff. I mean, do a lot of hiking. The mountains are right there, and um, I mean the Olympic Training Center is in Colorado Springs, so there's a lot of Olympic athletes. I mean, you just go out hiking, and you're probably some runner coming up behind you, and it's probably an Olympic athlete training. Seeing some of the
right.
stuff that they do is ridiculous.
Especially in like high altitude too.
Yeah, yeah, running up a mountain is crazy.
Right. Yeah. There's that big stairway. I forget what that's called.
Yeah, the incline.
The incline, and you see people just like sprinting up it nonstop. It just like a
I
sprint
hate it so
all the way to the
much.
top. It's like, how are you doing that?
I hate it. I've done it. I think I did it 4 times. My fastest time was 34 minutes, which is, I think, more than double the quickest time going up it.
It
But
takes me like 2 hours, I think. So
it is not fun. You don't feel good after that. You just like you feel the blood coming up in your lungs from breathing so hard.
yeah, yeah. And not being from Colorado Springs, the elevation's like a regular flight of
You are
stairs
absolutely
is
wild to
already
brave
difficult.
that just visiting.
Yeah, yeah. It's nuts. But yeah, we hit all the cool spots. We did the cog train. We went to Garden of the Gods. Um, there's a German restaurant that I really love there called Edelweiss.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that place is awesome. It's fun. So next time I go, I'll definitely come in, visit. We'll have to do some sort of a social media collab while I'm there.
Yeah, next time make sure you've got an extra day. We'll do some fun stuff. I'll show you around. We'll go to the stores. We'll do an Instagram collab, maybe a YouTube short or something, and it'll
Yeah,
be awesome.
yeah, it'd be fun. If you're ever in Northern California, you should definitely come by, check out our warehouse. I'll
I
convince
am
you to get
wanting
into the
to,
European surplus game
yeah, I want to make
eventually.
a trip there. And yeah, eventually European surplus. You had that MTP drop a few months ago, and I wanted so badly to get in on that. I wanted one of those MTP wind jackets. Those things are awesome.
Yeah, we that particular container was the first surplus container that we received. It's all full of British stuff. And we received that in 2019, and we finished sorting it like earlier this year
Oh wow.
because it was just of course we weren't sorting it the whole time, but it was just so many mixed goods. I mean, you saw the list was you know,
Oh, yeah. I
like I think there
remember
were like
being told
800
like there's a
something.
whole lot of stuff that's not on the list. If you come, you can look at it and take a
Right.
look at everything that's not for sale yet.
Yeah, it was crazy. There's just so much stuff, but it was like we'd start working on it, and then we get other stuff in that took precedent, and then we just kind of pushed it back. And when we finally just buckled down and got through the whole thing, I was like, man, there's so much good stuff in here. Um,
That was a good list of stuff. It was exciting to see other people putting it up for sale. Um,
right.
so I'm curious, with so much of your surplus coming from overseas, do you think this port strike is going to affect the supply of incoming foreign surplus?
It definitely will. Luckily, we get everything into the port of Oakland here, and so far nobody's at that port going on strike.
Okay.
But it does mean that a lot of containers that were set to go to the East Coast are kind of being rerouted or redirected to the port of Oakland instead.
Gotcha. So it could
So
back
it's
up
still
and slow
backed up no
down.
matter what.
Okay. Yeah, I found out today. I guess we're gonna have another toilet paper freak out over this. We can no longer buy toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah. People are wild. Our gas can sales were like through the roof this last week. Anytime there's any kind of a concern or unrest, people just stock up on fuel cans. I don't know what it is, but
It's interesting. We had the same thing with MREs, and the funny thing is they were the humanitarian MREs, which are these like bean-based, very bland MREs. Like every single one of them tastes like it needs like some more salt or some hot sauce or something, but it doesn't come with any of that in the packet. And these things like they blew up. To be fair, they're $5 a meal, so
right.
that's the cheapest MRE you're gonna find that has 1,000 calories in it. So, but
We don't get into MREs that often. I mean, sometimes we'll sell like the MRE Star MREs, like newly
yeah,
made ones.
yeah, those are good.
But like surplus MREs, whenever we're offered them, it's always like shortly after they've expired. Someone will be like, "I've got a whole warehouse full of MREs. I'll sell you for next to nothing." And I'm like, "When did they expire?" And they go, "Oh yeah, like last month." I'm sure they're fine. They're probably fine for another 10 years, but makes it hard to sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right now we've got a crazy variety of MREs. I think we have almost every military issue MRE. We just ran out of cold weathers. I think all we were missing were just the kosher MREs because we even had the halals.
So do you guys get stuff at auctions? Like we never really dug into the military, the U.S. surplus market that much. It's something I actually don't really know that much about. Um, but there are a couple of like local auctions where you can get stuff. Are you guys deep into that stuff?
The auctions are pretty silly right now. They've been terrible since COVID. I don't know what happened during COVID, but it seems like everybody tried to get into surplus and they were all just dabbling. But nobody knew what they were doing. And so people were paying full retail price for pallets of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we had a lot of these people after they realized that they weren't going to be able to sell it coming to us and trying to sell us the stuff that they bought. And we were just like, no, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we can't pay $9 for something we're going to sell for 10. Even Walmart can't do that. So no, the auctions haven't really been a big thing for us. That was something that got us started, but I don't know what's going on. There just hasn't been anything interesting, anything good, or anything uh, cheap enough to do anything with on there, and just hasn't been exciting.
So what's your like primary source for surplus, army surplus,
Oh man, it's
U.S.
probably just the military wholesalers, the surplus wholesalers.
What about, do you guys do much of the, I don't want to say pawn, but like, consignment stuff, like in the stores, the brick and mortar stores, people come in
Oh,
and
no
sell
consignment, but
stuff?
yeah, we do buy stuff in the stores from individuals that are coming in and getting rid of their old stuff. We'll get anything from active duty gear to collectors that are just getting rid of the collection. Um, we had a collector come in and he was like, I'm done with this now. I can't do this anymore. But I really want this to go to someone who's going to appreciate it. I was like, well, okay, cool. I'll go through this. And we made him an offer and he was like, oh no, that's way too much. How about this? And he dropped the offer down by like
It's crazy.
30%. And he's like, I just really want people to be able to get this stuff and enjoy it. It's like, cool. Well, I can tell you for sure the people that come in here are going to love this stuff, especially if you give it to me for cheaper, it's going to go out for cheaper.
Right. Yeah. Wow. What an honorable person. You don't meet people
It
like
was
that,
cool. We
but
have some awesome customers.
sounds like it. Yeah. That's great. That's the one thing that, we don't have a brick and mortar store here, which makes it a lot more difficult with the more unique, like one-off items.
Yeah.
There's so many times that people still kind of, they know that I do military surplus to say, hey, I've got this interesting thing. Are you interested in buying it? And I'm like, I could probably make $20 on that. But by the time I take pictures and put it online and go through the whole process of listing it, like there goes my $20, so it's just not
Yeah,
worth
it's just not worth it. That was one of the cool things with the store was we just had so many interesting single items that were just like, I mean, these are really cool, but like, do we want to go do a catalog listing on the website to sell this thing for $20? Considering that like the amount of information that we put on our listings online, it's more than pretty much anyone else when it comes to the information on that product, especially the technical information. It takes us an hour, sometimes a little bit more. And so it's like, well, we're in
there goes my
Colorado
20
Springs.
bucks.
People here are making 15 to $20 an hour. So
Right.
that's literally everything that we would have made on that just to get it up for sale.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I fantasize about having a brick and mortar store just to kind of do a little bit more of that and, when sometimes when we get containers of surplus in, like that British one, for example, we get a ton of just one-off items that come in anyways. Um, and it's like what we end up doing usually is just putting them in like a big box. We'll make like one-off boxes where
Oh, yeah.
we have like probably a couple $1,000s worth of stuff in there, but we'd have no other means of selling it. And then we'll, find a place that has a store like you guys and like, hey, you kind of get what you get, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. A couple $100, it's yours. Which is great because, it gives other people an opportunity to do something with it. But
Yeah, that's
all that
cool.
stuff is perfect in a brick and mortar store.
I think you guys need a brick and mortar store. I've been to a lot of surplus stores around the US. Every time we go on vacation or we travel, I hit every store that's in wherever we're going. And I've never been to one that had a really good selection of European surplus.
Yeah, it's just not your typical, like if it if there's a sign out front that says Army Navy store, like you just don't expect to see that stuff in there.
Yeah, I suppose you see more of like that world surplus at, I mean, more vintage stores, really.
Right. Yeah, there's a big crossover with like the vintage wear and we have some customers that are in that business. So like we have these like Swiss denim pants that we'll get, and there's this one guy that you might have met him, Will. He comes by and like picks out the most worn pairs out of the lot, and he wants those ones specifically. And then he goes and sells them at all the vintage markets and stuff. And I think he makes a killing on them.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
but yeah, there's a big crossover, and that's especially true with the stuff that's from that sort of earlier era that we were talking about, like the '60s and '70s specifically. Your modern like MTP pants aren't going to fit the bill with that, but a lot of the old European surplus definitely hits the mark with that, like the old bread bags and rucksacks and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some of these younger guys do some brick and mortar stores for that uh, European surplus. It's like I've stumbled across so many good stores on Instagram. I think one of my favorites is Liberty Quartermaster. Love
Oh
that
yeah,
guy. It just everything he does is so clever, and his selection is awesome. And then some of the other ones, Vintage War Chest. They haven't been around for very long, but um, great selection, awesome products, really cool guy.
yeah, yeah. But I follow both of those accounts, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, great stuff all around. Well, hey, listen, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. It's been great chatting with you. Thanks for doing this. Um,
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to, spend a little bit more time talking to people that are doing the same stuff that I'm doing, or at least adjacent, and kind of hear their stories and hopefully inspire some more people to get out there and, start their own business and
Oh
do a
yeah,
little bit,
this is
do a little bit of
always fun.
there's,
It's always fun chatting with other people that do surplus.
yeah, yeah, there's certain pains that nobody else will understand.
Yep.
Right on. Well, I'll let you go. You have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Hopefully you can make it out here one of these days. And next time I'm in Colorado Springs, I'll make an extra day.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for your time, Miles. Thanks for inviting me to be on your show.
Yeah, likewise. Take care.
You too.